Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan, and it is Tuesday, and just some really sad news about Charvarius Ward and his daughter Amani Joy, and it's just so unfortunate when anyone loses a child. So just really sad for him and his family, and it was such a journey for him and Amani Jo. I remember being in Colorado Springs. Uh, they were doing altitude training for Mexico City game, and Charvarius Ward wasn't there. He's kind of new to the team that year. He hadn't been there very long, but we found out later that it was because it was for the birth of his daughter. And so he did show up in Mexico City, played the game. They won by a lot. And later to find out that she also had a defective heart. So she had open heart surgery as an infant. She also had Down syndrome. And um, it was a challenge for them. It was a challenge for the family. And, over time, they got used to the fact that she was a Down syndrome child. I think it's a shock for anybody. And but the biggest challenge for Charvarius Ward was the fact that his daughter wouldn't respond to him when he would come in the house. I think most people think that as soon as they have a child, that child is going to be like super responsive. But for the first several months, and I don't have any children, but I've been around my nieces and my nephew, and for the first several months, maybe even year, they don't have a whole lot of responses. They just eat, sleep, and poop. So, sometimes they let you hold them, sometimes they don't. But for Mooney, it was a struggle for him. He wanted to have his own child respond to him and laugh with him and be with him and let him hold her. And he wasn't able to do that. And then finally, last year, about week 7 or week 8, he finally started being able to communicate a little bit with Amani Joy. And the fact that she would laugh with him and run to him when he came in the door made him feel whole. And that's when his play started to turn around the field. So I know sometimes we think about football players as commodities and, they're either helping the team win or why aren't they doing this or that. But just kind of a reminder that they're all human and they deal with stuff at home, just like you and me. And so the fact that he turned his season around, it says a lot. So, anyways, getting all emotional on this. But so sad for him and his family. But hopefully they'll be able to have more children in the future. And just wishing them the best because it's a tough one. So I had just spoken to him on Thursday about her too. So in the locker room on Thursday, I spoke to Mooney and I hadn't asked him about Amani in a while. And he was saying that, she's been great. She had kind of a few stomach issues, but um, they thought that she had them worked out. And so I hope, I don't know whether that has anything to do with what happened, but just sending prayers and support to Charvarius Ward and his family. So, whew, with that, um, we'll turn the page a little bit backwards, looking at the Cowboys game. And I did get a report from Next Gen Stats, and they do unbelievable things. They have trackers in everybody's shells. So they have trackers in each shoulder. Offensive linemen have a tracker like right behind their neck because they're in their stance. They want to make sure they're able to have that transmit to the sensors all around the locker room around the stadium. It's interesting though when the pads are in those little cabinets above their locker in the locker room, they come in with kind of like this sensor and walk around and turn them all off. And then they turn them all back on before they go out to practice so they can track their speed, whether they're running faster or slower, any trends. So I know that if a practice is going along and they all start running slower as a trend, they'll maybe cut the practices slower. So they watch the trends and the heat and the weather and all that stuff. And it's fascinating technology. So What they sent me in their report is that Jair Brown's interception, he traveled 22.1 yards in 2.8 seconds. That's the one where Nick Bosa pressured Dak Prescott. He threw kind of an errant ball deep to the left side, and Jair Brown picked it off. So Nick Bosa, that was his third pressure that forced a turnover, and that is the most in the league so far. Pretty impressive stat. Um, Also, fun stat, National Tight Ends Day, kind of a little happier note. Um, 177 catches by tight ends in a single day. It's the most that's ever happened for that position in a single day. Um, and Kittle had an incredible game, 128 yards, and 73 of those yards were after catch. 42 of those yards, though, were over the expectation of what the catch would be. So that's another thing Next Gen Stats does. They kind of show where it should have gone or the where it's expected to, how long a play is expected to go. And George Kittle got 42 yards past the expectation on his catches. He has 132 yards over expectation this season, the whole season. That is the most of all tight ends in the league. So George Kittle just becomes more and more impressive as he's going along. Ezekiel Elliott, who faced the 49ers, did not face one stacked box the entire game. They didn't stack the box once when Ezekiel Elliott was on the field, and he had 0 yards over expectation. 34 yards on 10 carries, so 3.4 yards average. All of those were expected yards. He did not break free further than he was expected to go. Another running back, Isaac Guerrero, stepping in for Jordan Mason. He faced the most stacked boxes of all running backs, and he got 84 yards on 14 carries, which is 25 yards over the expectation. So, kind of fun stuff from Next Gen Stats. But no injury updates. We're not going to have any updates from the team until next Monday. I will try to give you more things to think about. Maybe tomorrow. Hopefully, you know, more good things happen for Charvarius Ward. I know he's kind of had a challenging season, and I think maybe what was going on at home with his daughter could have been part of it. I mean, I think the stress, like all of us, stress behind the scenes. I have some, you have some, and all of that stuff does affect our job performance, our life performance. So, um, take a little time, tell the persons, people that you love them, give them a hug. That's my message for today. All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone.